I lift my left out?
Okay, so we had an F. It had domestic violence and drug violence.
Are you speaking to the camera?
And now we're starting the 1 and C.
All right. Okay. Everyone good? For the people, it's going to be 3 off. Framework, and then advantage 1 and advantage 2.
Like those are the off?
No,
Oh.
that's the order on case.
Oh, I see. I was like, do you want me to flow a framework on this separate? That's why. Okay, go ahead.
All right, no good? First of all, the cannabis Texas 50 states should legalize marijuana by amending the CSA to allow states to opting out of cannabis and keeping provisions. Nearly all states should do so, legalizing marijuana with slash cartel products agreement enforcement resource to make the current operations effective. Circle of the intercartel dynamics and the effort to decouple company structure consider the fractionalization organized crime units in 98% of the book towards the cities represent more than 5% of the total marijuana, the collective crime of the water, the field of current marijuana, which would contract doctors to lose about the fifth of the cities over now to all the field penalty need law enforcement research the fight organized crime to legalization. For 7, marijuana prohibition dramatically increases cartel violence and terrorism financing. 213D, marijuana prohibition now increases war regional cartel field by building the United States holding marijuana the natural short period of life defense really during the general law they deal and by the terrorist organizations how they much of the money to drug coverage of the terrorist organization. Second off is policy steps to the CSA reform. A report that given the bipartisan must be nurtured. It's close, but now it's keeping it at 113. Obama will go down to Colonel Justice from the issue one lawmakers Michael Robert the reputation one of them the strong bipartisan support the Colonel Justice the West work hard nurse bipartisan give them make a part of the past legislation to totally consider the notion of the bill to account we can realize presidential and the playing house of political rational congressional debates key that forces Democrats and Republicans to choose a side which wrecks bipartisan coalition dividing 15 don't show get down to the we're being pulled by members of Congress happening so I don't believe that certain legal bound and in the honor I congratulate against the power of the very president of the country short of the Washington DC numbers attacking the delegates for copying the Colonel Justice from provide for U.S. economic growth moving to turn 14 brings it over around interest rates and the test cost and national economy the most significant American economy this year issue with the economic ethical concept and which compared to global economy like America with an economic imperative. Excess incarceration, power of the productivity, the poverty rate, politics, when you do poverty, there's 5% that we're using person too many power to do it, too much impacts of global nuclear war, liberation, all hail and 12, that has been top national security, pushing national security, economic American war, political, sometimes U.S. security, policy for the dollar for it, maybe to nuclear over the after share, the steps on the less share, the going around the Russian part of the West Pacific, the less able to major war becomes likely, let the people part of the fund of the share, the part of the already established. Third off is the libertarianism and deeper morality, requires respecting humanity and itself, other obligations are particular that depend upon condition while standing against person more fundamental and from 8. Since the exercise to practical reason proceed to the political application universal law proceed in direction we need to consider the most basic self-and probity to begin with due to that breach of revolution such part of the condition where as it consider the first due to the attached source the most fundamentally under the stand against person and any practical identity such as debate or friend require that we value our own humanity towards our humanity to reflect the sharpness of mind for that steps of our soul and need to that's something over that's not that shows what the active part of the ability to determine actions that want to be expressed in yourself can some point identity descriptors about which would you value yourself on which you can hard life we're looking to call the self-practical identity the complex matter the research the obvious descriptor identity code and second if ancients regard the purpose is important they must regard the means that's important as well one of which is free to deny that and important would deny that the purpose was important one deny that right to free this is only under certain conditions lacking those conditions without lacking the right to free but any agent must free themselves to have freedom and restrict the condition on freedom freedom is entering every free and enter regenerating these rights one can never restrict the ends and subject to being in themselves because being human is automatically to set their own ends autonomously to treat humanity as an enterprise one to respect the legislative right let agents use the means to see free advantage of the standards respecting liberty. Something can only violate by intentional action, so passive ownership becomes not be violation while handguns altering the environment and they don't require something or 6. Something only violates the intent of these other countries, triggers on vulnerability places, which are shown to be immediately incidental, subject to charge mind value, the means to use subject to means mind. That's often three. These often principles generally right to power, violence and charging by violation, absolutely freedom, breaking 6. Property can be violated, you can be proud of somebody else decided which property can be available to discuss devoted to which to mean the purpose of identity mean crimes against property, interfere with the person power and the objection of the property, the fact that just beside the legislation is law and prohibitions have been to protect healthy, the spot violation, you're never going to decide which thing you make sure that no mistakes are these absolute case. As an overview to util, one calculator to read that util means that we require that calculate how much time you spend on our calculations, so on. Means that paralyzed also never able to take productive action. 2, rationality is whenever we take a decision, we step back and try to make the right one. This is an attempt to satisfy our rational nature and instead of making the right decision. This would make sense and match my rationality. Instead, the rationality is something like food that we wanted, something like hunger that we want to satisfy. Util when trying to maximize hunger, so you're getting more. 3, act util thoughts rule util people who try to act the right way, make mistakes, never be able to make decisions. 1, util thought because we have the will to right likely in most instances do more good. That rules the NC direction. It's good big life. valuing without direct violation of each other's property, we're less likely to do harm, or valuing favors concerning the person specifically that we value the person in the first place, i.e. that we value death bad if you wouldn't care about a person being sad or dying. If you value the person means you can reach those sustained laws, obligations, respect humanity, at least presupposed humanity, that some intrinsic value. Why people can never recognize things as intrinsic value, even if that slavery directly be obligatory. We had some chance of a greater future good besides intuition. That some things are just wrong. 6 can't aggregate people have different perceptions of good as numbered by class estimation, which means that there's not an objective metric to determine good or bad. Now, the reduction is the one who relies upon some separate agent to aggregate happiness. Without that, they can have any concept of what happiness is goodness either. Since that relies upon happiness stuff behind, if anything, that means that deontology, because we can't focus on all violating person freedom that any individual time to. Units of agency is independent methods, perhaps unified action is still possible. Course Art 89 comes through. Committing a measure that how to the way must come to the system of how you must ask, but one of our ideologies delivered, that's something of the start that choose act on with respect to the world to identify the time involved in methods of the fact that even for different people, those people still communicate to become one nation. Course Art 89. People spit out the brain lord, you can integrate functional and expert out of the situation, possibly you integrate some out of the body, completely integrate as long as you get activity become a single agent. And off the genome evidence, one goes negative, people still need freedom to decide whether or not they like pleasure or not. 2 goes negative, government should protect citizens into interest, they should let citizens pursue their own ends here to the evidence best accountable. 3 states are best about to protect freedom. Now, evidence lies the 1 and the evidence which comes prior also off the run. However, evidence 1 states don't get to decide what benefits is sufficient to offset burden. 9, the only by as far as showing the consistent condition average burden on the value, right to be a master into the force can justify you only on the record of the condition temporary creative efficiency, and states can be Kantian. Germany approved 59 Germany based cloud being shut in poverty into the rights proportional with the national restriction and allowing each other the consistent rights. Also, the one however evidence still doesn't have high an objective metric about which how to determine good, which means that you should follow the NT as that calculus as the ends that government should set off the also there's no justification about why Reinheimer justified judicial justification metaphysical facts are relevant. Doesn't mean that we should have normative decision making calculus. The NT is that normative decision making calculus, and just because also the Reinheimer hasn't justified the why trade-offs are inevitable. The one is the evidence is shoddy at best and hasn't highlighted any of the evidence. The NT indicates that even if states are able to only should make decisions between trade-offs, that only means that they should act in order to prevent hindrances upon hindrances, which means that resolve that conflict. Now, the first advantage, your result will conclude that the plan doesn't involve any deed while there are 2 component background checks sufficient for all that if they will not alternative flexible system regarding without background checks. Private till loophole means to solve the NT called private till to give it that says the action can avoid background check by children. And then which actually skip the second advantage. Bioversity is resilient and evidence type of the excess bioversity excess species except for the match share the eating use of species the engineering introduce DNA and a species that was lost with unlimited creation of biodiversity nature right or anyone could possibly administer no impact to terrorism can produce Macomb 13 debunking order to target into the vast question of which more involved with the motivational character consideration have low level of terrorist use telling understanding the sensibility flexibility usual considerations.
Okay, can you delete what you didn't read?
Yeah. I'll just read.
Don't delete it and resend it, I guess.
Start.
No.
Or do you just want to
I
leave?
just want you to delete it real quick. Sorry, it's deleted. Sorry.
That's fine. Maybe you'll all remember. I don't really remember. Did I read the Peninsula card or not? The 3rd card on the first advantage.
You read 4 pieces of evidence.
On the first advantage?
I wasn't
What is your question?
watching. Let me see.
I don't know. If I read 4 pieces of evidence, then I know. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I didn't read that card then. If I would have read 4.
Did you see we met Matt Liner?
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Have a game?
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a huge crush on him.
I know. I still do.
Alright, so,
We don't have older.
Also, John Devan Boothie, do you remember him?
So dreamy.
Who was the one before Matt Liner?
Dude, Tomasi debated Ideen last weekend.
How was
Pretty
that?
funny.
Oh my god.
Alright, y'all ready?
Yeah. What's the order?
no, it's cross.
It's a cross-X.
Oh.
It's okay. Status of the camera plan?
Dispo.
Status in which you can kick it.
If you put defense on it.
If I put defense, you can kick it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess. Okay, that's fine. So then moving on. So first on the NC. So you make on the case. You make this argument about pretty fast. The hindrance of a hindrance argument.
Yeah, so Ronheimer, all that Ronheimer said is that we need to be able to justify trade-offs to the public, but one justification assumes that like util has to be that calculus, but Ronheimer doesn't justify that. Ronheimer could easily just say that states can justify this via saying that we're going to act in this way in order to prevent a hindrance, or in order to like do a hindrance of hindrance.
To make an intention to when you're
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Or not intentions necessarily, but like means.
means. Okay, that's fine. So consequences are relevant under the NC.
Yeah.
Okay. Then on to the so then I guess also the NC. So on the NC proper. So you're on the contention. So what is the offense? Is it just that the state bans something and that's bad?
What do you mean?
Like you say
On the contention level?
of the NC.
Yeah, in the context of like guns, yes.
In the context of guns.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning, like, so the state just takes away guns and that's bad.
I mean, it's not necessarily like they take away guns and that's bad, but our argument would be that that's like a form of coercion that's unjustified.
Wait, where is there any coercion argument made in the NC?
That's exactly what libertarianism is.
But I don't think that where is there an argument about why coercion is bad in the NC? I don't think it's fair for you to be able to just assert that.
No. I'm not asserting it. That was the entirety of the NC.
Read me where it says coercion.
Sure. That's often for me, the sovereignty principle generates a right of true property that the act violates its unjustified violation of absolute freedom. That by definition
So
is
the right
coercion.
to property. It doesn't say coercion. So does that mean that the
Sure.
state
You can call it something else.
So no. So the state cannot take away people's property, right?
The argument is that
Right.
you cannot take away
views. It's a very simple question. The NC says
It's a lot more complicated than like, can the state take away property or not? The argument is that the state can take away property insofar as that property has the intention of doing harm to others and violating other people's agency. So for example, if guns are something that like don't necessarily intrinsically cause harm to others, but rather people pursue their own ends.
Violation is the state taking away the guns, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're not taking away the guns, no, but passing legislation saying that people cannot have that. Banning them.
Okay, why?
Because that is like, you cannot pursue your own ends when that end isn't something that necessarily harms others.
When that end isn't.
Because guns in and of themselves, so, Jonas, you're going from like point, so you're starting at point B.
So
we're like, point A is like,
if guns can do something other than kill someone, then
yes, exactly. Guns do not have an intrinsic value, but rather, the state would be like, start Brad.
Sorry.
The state the state would be like, if guns purely had the purpose of like killing people, clearly then we would be like, you should not have those guns because that means that intrinsically would cause a violation to other people's agency. But in the instance, which is like the hindrance of the hindrance argument, but in the sense that guns do not have a singular purpose, but rather guns can serve multiple different functions, we would say that somebody with the intent of using a gun to pursue an end of killing somebody is wrong, but somebody buying a weapon would not be wrong. So like, there's a difference between the action and like the post buying the gun, the intent of like when you have the gun. What is your intention?
Okay, let's get it. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what are your answers to domestic violence?
There are loopholes in the law that you can get out. What's the standard? Let me just make sure. Yep. Back in the
What are your answers? Do you make a like infinite consequences argument?
Yep. No, I don't.
You don't.
No.
What are your indicts to util?
There are a couple.
Is there any indicted consequentialism in general?
Yeah.
What is it?
So, calculative regress, util would require that we calculate how much time we spend on our calculations and so on. Meaning it paralyzes policies because ultimately we're never going to be able to make a decision. 2, rationality is an aggregative. Whenever we make a decision, we try and like step back and make the right one, and this is an attempt to like satisfy rational natures and make the right decision. And it wouldn't make sense then to try and like maximize rationality, but rather use like rationality as like a calculus, i.e. like rationality may be like food that we want, and it's hunger we want to satisfy. You wouldn't try to maximize hunger just so you could eat more. That's the example that I talked about. Third one is act util collapses.
Alright, that's fine. stop. Save as BBT or R3 R. Gotta try and get. Alright. Order is, we're gonna say it's the, first is gonna be the, first is, did you get the doc? I just set it up. Oh, did I just reply to you? Yeah, I didn't reply.
We didn't get the doc.
Yeah, that's why I didn't reply all. Reply all.
Oh yeah, no, we did not.
Yeah, no, I'm sending it.
That's
Alright,
good.
I sent it. Okay, order is the NC and new off.
NC new off. NC new off.
Yep.
Where's the new off?
Huh? Oh, it's all analytics.
All analytics.
Slash NC analytics, bro.
Reasonable.
Huh?
Reasonable.
Yep. Do they flash content policy?
Maybe.
I'm saying they don't flash them. Yeah.
Look, I see.
It's a normal.
Charizard. Or
Okay.
Pikachu.
Are you too good?
Why is Charizard more?
Are you good?
Okay.
I'm good.
You good?
It's the NC
Alright.
first.
Okay.
We'll concede to the entirety of the NC framework, which means that all of your util arguments on the case of being goes away. The just goes away. Counterplan. All the just matter reasons, all consequences of the next rule. Make sure which why only intentions matter. First of all, cross-play arguments so that you're making on the case by why consequences are uniquely bad because they go maybe like all the reasons why consequences matter, reasons why only intentions make something that is good because they find the assumption about things in the future, which is something uniquely bad, which means that only intention can make something is good because that is what determines the mean. Because mean is not having consequences at all, which means that you cannot extend case defense or again for the next week because those are all things because case only tests these itself, which means that you should use a truth testing paradigm. You should use a truth testing paradigm. That's the only thing we have to have going in the ground that is good for fairness and education. That's all we have to determine between fairness rules and nonsense. So templates are not something that is not something that's good. Also, negative something that's also uniquely objectionable because it does not question the desirability of the affirmative, but rather just as someone else is taking action. It's not a question whether or not they can do it. Because it's not the question whether or not we should ban marijuana, but whether or not we should ban the app. Not the question whether or not the affirmative is desirable. So the app has taken attention. That would be a reasonable assessment level about why you would give. Also, liberal terrorism requires yourself within restrictions, not freedom to prevent a general right not to be killed. That's close in. Then simul test is also not true. Attributing other potential times really resources to that stuff. Again, concept regulations use principles of libertarian to be okay for restriction responsibility as free regulation not protect drink something because supports and conspiracy becomes substance bad, but also cross-play urban how many hindrance and the hindrance justify, which means the intention of the affirmative is not to take away people's guns, but rather is to intend for people not to be harmed anymore, which means that would take out all the NC offense because it does not matter because the affirmative. Here's a really good example. So, I'll just explain this and it pretty much sets up why the egg went. So, if there's a person standing on a track and they are standing in front of an anvil. But, okay, better example. 5 people are going to be killed currently on a track right now by a running train. There is another track with an anvil on it that will stop the train that is not going to kill those 5 people. But there is someone standing in front of that anvil, and if I move the train, then it's going to kill that person. However, I only intended to move the track because the train will now hit the anvil. The person was only something that happened. The person was an unintended harm, which means that under the NC framework, the app is justified because taking away people's guns is only that person standing away in the anvil because the intention of the app is only to prevent the ownership of someone's life being taken away from them, which means that under the NC framework, course guard would agree with the app on this issue because it would mean that the affirmative does not necessarily take away person's property affirmatively, but rather only it intends to stop death, and then that person is only something that's standing in the way, which means that in terms of intentions, you only vote out. You vote out. Next, up. Interpretation of the negative reason alternative if the negative reason care plan or an alternative advocacy, the negative must then that advocacy unconditionally be violation. See sentence first draft you. He similar conditions which will spend the cap plan which multiple player to one strategy shit. The two random cap plan have the difficulty in privatizing us over and how like as much as I enforce in sub strategy makes it hard for me to when I come out keeping us the defense. So just was ever supposed to the rest crossing country people versus likely to be so if I can take they should be able to either and force me to turn CP and then start responsible I can't read a reason best about it. Also it's not only for turning step plan, but if I read any defense at all, even if I read 10 turns in one piece of defense, you can speak out of the that which makes it unfair, but also I should be able to be consequences of the Twitter always gets to go for it as a logical op, the Twitter can always only go for it as an offensive option, which means you're never going to be able to just get the defense in terms of this all, so you need to execute strategy, and I carry the mixture of both, which is the best strategy for me, because that way you can't just only go for the offensive, but rather you can continue to be able to get out of it. Also, if there's defense on your urban, then I necessarily can't only go for the offensive, which is better, and force me to can't let it into responsible. I can't let it's just like something that extra versus defense on an opportunity cost. Less than guard, Facebook said, right, they always innovation after that beyond the definite channel to top over here, which is hundreds of blue damage started to have the negative. Then also kills fast and team responsibility depending on the count of the S6 fish whenever trying to swing it. They'll be checking out that preventing or attempting to cancel any team first. First, but I can use action again, get better education, most motivated. I can drop the mirror one round, start getting out of these use 3 seconds, distract me. For two, reject their two charge DBs, and you can interpretation one reason is arbitrary, you never what it means. Don't let them speak a bright line on the stream because I like to shoot statements. I don't know what the bright line is until the whenever through that. Just something to use, but also any bright line would unconvenience me because you obviously speak a bright line that your interpretation and you never argue because they're classic interpretation, but also never argue because 6 minutes built in head, which means that you would have to win that thing that's good. Also, you red pill and you chose, which means you strongly only win on one outside since anyways it's probably not the hardest favors that incentivized to only go for the theory when my interpretation does.
I had 4 minutes.
Yeah. And I have 3:30, I think. Sorry. Did you? It's fine if you didn't. We can talk about that.
Jonas, if your example about like the unintended harms is true, why isn't the ath an example of like an unintended harm? Because when you take away guns, you would be perfectly happy if like that person took that gun and like didn't do.
Well, no, because the argument is that the intention is like we intend and end.
How are you intending like to like prevent people from killing themselves? You're seeming to just intend to take away. Or no, not killing themselves, from killing others. Like you seem to only intend to take away guns from other people. That seems to be a consequence of your intention.
Well, no, that's not true, because our intention is the act of preventing someone from killing someone else.
How?
Because
your intention seems to be like, we are immediately going to take away some of these guns. A consequence of that would seem...
No, our intention isn't taking these. You don't understand. Obviously...
I'm not the one who doesn't understand, but that's fine.
Okay, obviously an intention is something that I intend to do and intend to happen.
That's fine. Seems to be a consequence.
Like, I intended to go for
So, like, under that interpretation, like, if you pass the plan, like, I intended to prevent nuclear war. Like, if
exactly, that's why intentions strength. That's why Kantian frameworks are stupid, but you read it, not me.
Okay.
I think they're dumb, but I thought this would be a good one-era strategy, so I went for it. Yeah, that's what apps are.
Jonas, I'm good. So the interp's just like looking at conditional, right?
The interp is if the negative reads an alternative, a counter plan or an alternative advocacy, then the negative must determine advocacy. I did not say that though. I said if they read a counter plan or an alternative advocacy. Both of you probably have that flow, especially since they didn't have it. Oh no, I'm just telling you because if you make some semantic ID, you lose.
Jonas, I'm cracking. What were the voters?
Parents and education.
What was the education internally?
Schools unpaid for its education.
No,
Sure. So it's unresponsive and educational because I can't access best answers like solvency deficits or permutations. That was
you access those.
No, the last argument was clash because if you're never responsible for defending the counterplan, you have a 2 and R to crash my answers. So I need you to ability to stack the counterplan from any direction from an equal chance of winning. Because otherwise,
not a fairness argument, not like a.
No, it's definitely educational because the argument is that if it kills clash, and clash is an interlinked to education.
You just said you need a chance to be able to like extend those arguments.
Well, no, sure, right? Because the argument is that I need the ability to. It's like I still need the ability to make educational arguments, and I can't make them in the first place. Obviously, because better clash happens.
Why can't you make those arguments?
Because the argument is that you have said that there is a condition under which you take the counterplan.
Yes, well, why can't you make those arguments?
Because you have taken away from the ability to make other arguments as well, which means that I only go right. You have set yourself 2 paths. One path is which I do something that you don't have to go for the counterplan. The other path is that I've done something that you wanted me to do. You literally get to say, "This is the only answer I get. I want you to make against the counterplan." And then, if that's the only way I can do it to avoid you kicking it, then I have to make less educational arguments to meet your group. They arguably can do that.
Alright, order's going to be the NC. And then the theory argument.
NC
Condos, yeah.
NC condo. NC just go. Any new cards?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, I'll just send this. Oh, I just see for me. Oh, true.
Alright, everyone good?
It's just one card. Okay. It's just one card, right? Good.
All good?
NC3.
Yep. Alright, I can't like scroll.
Yeah.
Track that. Alright, good.
Jonas, you completely misunderstand libertarianism, which means that the NC is game over. The argument is that you can enslave somebody in order to have a better end, i.e., you get freedom is the ultimate goal, which is of course our argument that says freedom comes prior. That is the only way which we're able to set an argument to our ends, which means that if you violate freedom, that's acting in a way that would be unethical, as evidenced by the Ripson argument, which means that the only way libertarianism works is that you cannot coerce somebody in order to achieve a future end, i.e., not killing somebody. For example, I cannot enslave somebody in order to free future slaves, because that would be a violation of that person's autonomy. You cannot ban guns in order to prevent people from killing themselves in the future, because that's a violation of that person's autonomy and their freedom in the first place, which means that libertarianism would say that you cannot coerce somebody in order to coerce somebody with the intention of banning guns in order to maintain the intention of not killing somebody in the future. The absence of unjustified violation of somebody, the Ripstein cards and the intention say that a point freedom is only violated by intentional action. They have the intent of a handgun ownership is to violate freedom, i.e., you can pass the policy with the intention of trying to prevent people from killing other people, but you have not won that the intention of handgun ownership is to violate freedom, which means that that's a misunderstood internally. The B-point independence generates an absolute right to property because it can still be used to achieve something. The opposite side of the purpose which somebody's powers will be available. They restrict the ability to set and pursue handgun ownership, which doesn't prevent talking making, and that's not a violation of freedom, which means that the only way you can actually derive the intent of the policy is via the means of the policy. But the fact of the matter is when you ban handguns you ban handguns with the intention of violating somebody's freedom and liberty in order to solve the violation of somebody's freedom and liberty in the future. But that still assumes a consequentialist calculus. That sort of violation of the future matters in the first place. Our argument is that the very first point A is that you are banning handguns, which is still a violation of somebody's liberty. The only intention of handgun is not to violate other people's freedom. So it's very easy. You just misunderstood what libertarianism is. Your card is also one piece of evidence that you receive says that libertarianism says that we don't have an obligation to kill. This is a misunderstanding of what libertarianism is. It says that if one action purely had the intent of killing other people, that libertarianism will then say that action is bad because and you could then hinder that person because that hindrance of a hindrance because if that person purely had the intention of killing somebody without singular action, that would do libertarianism would say that bad. But guns don't have the intrinsic value of always wanting to kill people, which means that card doesn't apply. You are misunderstanding what libertarianism is. It merely means that you cannot coerce somebody in order to have some future good, i.e. preventing people from killing others. The intention of the policy is to ban handguns. The then future consequence of that is to stop killing people, which means that all this arguments about how I don't access turns on the AC means that he doesn't access the advantage to the AC, which is only realized through a consequentialist calculus. You only know you're not going to kill somebody if you're using a consequentialist frame. The libertarianism specifically assumes that theory. Counterintuitive to the negative one dispositional counterbalance that go must make the one our negative one information processing pressure to activate the reactive different ideas and generate responses. That makes us better at processing information, which also internally turns their education arguments because that's skill which is especially important in the world where the level of information increasing less we learn to sift the large amount of information we will be locked out of electronic democracy. And two, active skills action how to defend the optimal logic study to act when marketplace of ideas will not defend policy healthcare from radical left test to multiple different perspectives creates better access better because we have to make choices and find the real social justice on chain like some to become we control uniqueness. And as no people to the offense, one, all arguments of conditional team will inevitably go over not go for arguments taking conditional actions or advantage arbitrary. Two, counterintuitive you're off the counterintuitive culture off because after we can ask you to end the debate, you can just allow speech, you can totally blow your arguments against one absence. You say it puts you at scuba. You say it puts you at scuba. If I kick out of the counter, you get to weigh the entirety of the case against that go which result in any sort of opposite of the category because it puts you at an advantage. Very multiple you get just as many conditional actions permutations or even worse because they introduce new conditional results prevents us from getting crystals and calculus because the ways current usually interact with evident also isn't evident. Now I'm taking out of the handle and it's conditional going there, it's conditional going for it. He has an answer to that all. Now off argument responsible in one turn, less responsible to a force and flat actually positive responsible policymakers reject bad options to counter-introduce it. Solve their option will be responsible for the two in our choice. You never specify how much responsibility the power will also solve the internal solve your fairness argument because you inevitably still can read the arguments and you still will look at that education just question of whether you're not able to access it by the end of the 2 hour, which means that it's not an education argument, rather it's not an education argument at the end of the day, rather it's still a form of fairness argument. You say strategy one is no different than top penalty in theory since all they have to do is prove the aptitude, but it doesn't alter the version, which means that top penalty in theory is allowed. So all the other arguments they say time to one have to inevitably replace the control aptitude. All the arguments require so much time. This argument justified voting for slow seem to no time to vote 30 minutes to be glass and they offense last word, so they get the advantage during the interest on the breach, and this is the pressure to foster quick and efficient thinking, strategic thinking, and learning how everything right completely every life. Therefore, negative flexibility outweighs speaking about the apps and infinite prep comes to new exaggeration, rigorous test your credit. Usually just write about one case, keeping about the choice field the two error. They say current voter one current situation has no right line, even if it's because that's not a voting issue. Do one single 8 factors. The situation compared to the arguments made when talk back to unfair situations. Sorry, I'll flash you after this. There's no objection where the fair because activity fair because they won't have any arguments on fair because they are fair because arguments have divided dysfunction response to. There's no good reason why fair the voting should proceed and play text is excessive. Unfair the man the perfect plan should protect the plan and it's also fairness. He was inevitable. His only argument that both have the equal action of the valve, but we still have action of the valve. Arguments non-responsive. You should probably have a better fairness argument. Also, two non-needing. There are always unfair situations when it comes to having more resources, negative, getting lower species. Remember, when fairness becomes important, how much fairness we need 3 of you, and unfair are inevitable in life, which is trying to make it big and then the real and every time something doesn't go away. Some things are just fair. The model helps deal with the real issues. Or if you want absolute fairness, let's flip a coin and decide who wins, because that's the only way to guarantee there's 50-50 chance unless the one wins like blowing the wrong way or something. Now they say drop the argument, drop the debater creates a rational searching 3 race equal 85. The difficult side of the one practice does not serve nearly every issue is important. No logical side of the one tax kind of difficult to tell them that that's going to be around for one thing. Second, I think looking comes with Charles and or no parts sort of thinking ones, but which are the debate first or commercial argument intended to make without adequate response to conflict around the last speech. The debater's punch has been more time which over the buddy question is always excessive.
Okay. Yes, so there's
Yes.
I'll start. Actually, I'll start. I think I had 3.
No, you had like.
I had a lot of time.
No, you didn't. You had like.
All I
Q40 games.
Wait, does everyone know?
we can check the tape.
We'll check the tape.
I definitely shouted a lot. I just forget.
Unless y'all can resolve it.